So you can see 6 crews, again from Croatia, Denmark, Spain, Switzerland, Serbia and Austria.
So, applause from the grandstand as we see the Croatian combination in the stroke seat, Anton Lončarić, and behind him, Pat Lončarić, the twins. And, well, just 22 years of age, junior champions back in 2016. Olympic bronze medalist Joachim Sutton going to be rowing across the Pacific, would you believe, very soon. Fred Vistaval, more of them as they go down the course. Silver medalist Javier Garcia Ordonez in the stroke seat, and Yami Canahalo Pazos behind him, the 31-year-old. This fast new Swiss pair, Roman Röschli in the bows, Andrew Gulic, strong on the ergometer, Gulic. Well, Milos Vasic, how often have we seen him in the stroke seat? And Martin Makovic, former Cal oarsman, in the bow seat, Cal Berkeley. And there are the Austrians, Lorenz Lindorfer, Bruno Bachmeier. And Bruno Bachmeier, you can see the black ribbons they're wearing on their chest in memory of Christoph Siegfriedsberger, who tragically lost his life while cycling on a training camp in Saudi. I can't imagine how it must have been for the Austrian team. But Bruno Bachmeier has got a new partner, Lorenz Lindorfer, and the whole Austrian team rowing those black ribbons in memory of Christoph.
So here we are, smoothly away across the field. It was in that centre lane, the Spanish, the silver medalists from the World Championships last year, probably who got away the best.
Yeah, Vasic leading the Serbians off there. You can see their stroke rate 46. The Danes up at 51. Olympic bronze medalists. There are the Lončarić twins. 14th in the Worlds last year, yet to really make the breakthrough after the Croatians, of course, won that Olympic title back in 2021 in Tokyo. The Lončarić left the switch to the double left the boat open for the Lončarić twins.
Yeah, that's right, the Sinkovic brothers being in that pair, but the Lončarić brothers say they're inspired by the Sinkovic brothers. This year they're focusing mostly on rowing with the big goal of trying to qualify this pair for the Olympic Games. So for them it's a great opportunity. They're in there in the field as we see them again. Nice close-up shot. Quite low down in the boat, aren't they? Quite sort of slumped, almost a bit like the Sinkovics in some ways. Need to look after their low backs.
Yeah, you can see the stroke rates there. It looks like the Swiss are out there. You can see the Serbians in the foreground. Stroke man of the Swiss boat, Andrew Gulic, pulls a mean 5.53 on the ergo. At least that's what he did back in the Swiss Indoor Championship. Roman Röschli pulled a 5.58. The former Oxford victorious boat race rower, Roman Röschli. And it is the Swiss go through 1:34 in these conditions. Pretty tasty time through to the first 500. 4 seconds slower than world best time, but we're not really worried about those world's best time in these conditions. And Ian Wright's going to be delighted with what he's seen so far of this Swiss pair. Yeah,
Ian Wright coaching this Swiss team. They've got a strong team here. We understand this is the fastest pair. They're the fastest 2 rowers in Switzerland, ahead of the 4 effectively. And here we are, just clashing the boys as well, as you saw it there. Adrian Gulch in the stroke seat, just catching his blade on that white buoy line.
Yeah, and I guess Tim Roth, who's over in the USA rowing for Cal Berkeley, is going to come back into the equation in June. You know, will Ian Wright stick with this pair that are going so well in the early stages of this race?
Yeah, and I'm imagining it's Roman Röschli in the bow seat who's got that rudder and has made a correction, but now they've gone over to the other side of the lane, if you see it. So it's a bit of an overcorrection. He's looking over his right shoulder. It's a bit disturbing, that. Hopefully lining up for the centre of the lane. I'm sure those swans will move out when they get there.
They usually
They're
do,
usually
don't
pretty
they?
Smart.
What do you make of the Danes and the Spanish on that far side of the course? They're going toe-to-toe. The Spanish silver medalists in the Worlds last year, just heading the Danish bronze medalists in the Olympics. They've come back out this year, coached by Tom Poulsen. Sorry, Jens Willemsen, not Tom Poulsen. In third place as they go through the halfway mark, but only well, less than a couple of seconds down on the Swiss.
Yeah, I think we're in for a really good race. If the Swiss can sort out that steering and just be in the middle of the lane, then you can't help thinking they'll be able to hold that position. But I think the Spanish are threatening, and the Spanish came through well at the World Championships last year in the second half, in the final. So I can't help thinking they'll come now.
Yeah, they did. That Spanish pair of Yomi Canajalo-Pazos and Javier Garcia Ordonez rode a brilliant last 1,000 metres to take them away from the British and back on the Romanian gold medalists. The Danes just moving there, Fred. Vistaval in the bow seat of the Danish boat. He rode for Eton College and Princeton, rode at Eton with Stan Aludis, who of course you rode with in the Olympics, Greg. And Joachim Sutton, I did mention in the introduction, he's currently training for a 5,000 kilometre row across the Pacific Ocean this year, and they still hope to qualify this boat for the Olympics. And how on earth they're going to do that?
Yeah.
Goodness only knows, Greg.
A massive challenge to go and do a Pacific row and then come back to trying to qualify the boat for the Olympics. Let's see how they work that out. But I'm seeing that Spanish bow ball just starting to move here, and wondering whether the Swiss early leaders will be able to go from start to finish leading the race, which would be quite spectacular if they can do that, or whether the Spanish will be able to come through them.
We saw them out paddling yesterday afternoon on the course, didn't we, with that very characteristic pause at the finish that Ian Wright, instills in his crews, where they come together at the back end.
Yeah, it was a real pause at the finish, but then they're really quiet at the finish now, aren't they? You kind of see that. There's no pause, obviously, but it looks like they hardly do anything at the finish. The blade just pops out of the water and they come back. Will this Spanish pair come back? I'm kind of interested to see Jaime Canelo-Pazos in that Spanish pair. He says he's inspired by Rafa Nadal. So we got Marian Cilic watching. He's inspired by Rafa Nadal. I wonder whether they will be able to make that move and come back now in this last 500. I can't help thinking they will.
Yeah, the Sevilla-based pair just making a move to edge back on the Swiss, but it's the smallest of moves. I look out to my left, I can see them. They're yet to go through the 250 to go mark.
Well, you can see it on the stroke rates. The Spanish were up at 43 strokes a minute. The Swiss haven't gone yet. Will the Swiss have somewhere to go, or will they just be able to resist, holding their stroke length that you can see here? They're still rowing pretty long. No sign of shortening up yet in this Swiss pair, and I think it's working for them.
Well, Rogerly talked about the winter training being ever so tough, and with pretty bad weather combined with a lot of volume and intensity, and that's coming into good use. Look at the way they've stretched it out now, Greg. That's an impressive move.
Yeah, very impressive, because the Spanish have gone. They went up to 45, now they're at 47. The Swiss have held their length and just been able to press away, and if anything, move away from the Spanish pair beside them.
So if the Romanians are watching this, I bet you're thinking you've got some new opponents, but Switzerland are going to win this by clear water. They come through to the finish. Gulic and Ruisley win the pairs ahead of the world silver medalists from Spain, Canelo-Pazos, Garcia Ordonez. The Danish take the bronze medal like they did in the Olympics ahead of the Lončarić twins, who came back into the race, I think, just ahead of the Serbians. They were fourth in the Worlds last year. And at the back of the field, it was the Austrians, Lindorfer and Bachmeier. That was a great race.
Yeah, it was a good race. I thought Swiss did really well there, because they led right from the start and then kept the boat. You know, a few steering challenges in that middle phase of the race, but once they corrected them, kept themselves right where they needed to be. Good race going on for the bronze medal. We didn't see so much of it. I think the home crowd were getting excited because the Lončarić twins were sort of threatening to get through the Danes, but they couldn't quite make it through.
Yeah, you see the Swiss there. That I think is that them with their distinctive red bows.
They're in the red boat, aren't they?
Yeah.
Spanish just had it in the first few strokes, got away really nicely.
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
Sort of feel like rates sort of more comfortable for them to use as a tool, whereas the Swiss kept it just a bit lower and longer.
It's interesting, you know, you're sending out a message to your competitors. I think the British, we don't know if Tom George and Ollie Wynne-Griffith, the world bronze medalists, are going to be doing a pair this year. But I think it's likely, you know, and are they going to be looking at the Romanians? Well, now they're going to be looking at this new Swiss pair. And
yeah, very exciting to see that.
Yeah, it is really exciting.
Interesting, the Romanians not at this championships.
I know, they were at Luca, I think, or maybe not the first team. And yeah, I thought we'd see them here.
Yeah, they don't often miss championships, do they?
No.
But I guess we'll see them at the Europeans in Bled in 3 weeks' time.
Look across the finish line.
And a great opportunity, really, to get that win for this Swiss pair. I mean, they'll be delighted to get that. Then they can go into those European Championships off the back of a gold medal from here, getting ahead of the Spanish. So they know they're going to be right in the mix.
Yeah, Rogeley, of course, we're used to seeing him in the double sculls with Barnaby Delars. He was in Tokyo Olympics. Canalo Pazos and Javier Garcia Ordonez with thumbs up. They'll be pleased they beat the Danes, won't they? Player, Marin Cilic here, the Croatian Wimbledon champion in 2014, but listen to the cowbells.
It's good to hear those cowbells again. If you're not used to watching rowing, the cowbells ring.
New kids on the block in the pairs. Rogeley, formerly in the Olympics as a sculler, now made that successful transition to sweep. And Drin Gulick, I think he could go sub 550 on the erg with that pair's result. He was 553 in the Swiss Championships, but yeah. I think he's the strongest on the erg in the Swiss team, which is probably why they put the lad in the 24-year-old in the stroke seat.